Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Art of Attraction with Dominey Drew. Coming to you live today. It is Wednesday. It is a beautiful afternoon out where I am. I hope you're having a fantastic morning, afternoon, evening, whenever it is that you're listening to this. Of course, I am here live on Facebook Live at the moment. On my Facebook page, you can find me at Dominey Drew. On Facebook at Dominey Drew Coaching is my business page on Facebook. I have a lot of free material and content and teachings and things I've learned from my clients and little things to help, free tidbits to help on my Facebook page. So feel free to check that out. And of course, if you are downloading this as a podcast, feel free to subscribe. I'm on iTunes and Google Play and Spotify and what else? iHeartRadio. I'm everywhere. You could just search The Art of Attraction with Dominey Drew. And if you are a fan of the show, please subscribe and download and tell all of your friends. And actually, in all seriousness, if of course I specialize in helping single men attract life partners through personal and relationship coaching. And often I will have, I'll have married guys approach me on Facebook or on my website, which is domineydrew.com, and say, I'm married, I'm in a happy relationship, but I've got a friend that I would really like to send your way, and they do, and it's almost always a good fit because you know your friends, and if they're struggling in their dating life, if they are single and they don't know why, if they're repeatedly attracting the same wrong relationship over and over and over again, right? If they're struggling to approach women, if they're struggling to find and meet women, these are all the kinds of things that I help guys through in my coaching program. So yeah, if you do know someone, if you're a fan of the show, thank you so much. And if you know someone that you think would be interested, just subtly send them the link. You don't need to put anything. just check this out. And because it's life-changing work. And the main reason it's life-changing, this just came up with another client recently. He was like, I just don't know why I'm having these problems. I don't know what the problem is. Well, of course you don't, right? If you knew what the problem was, you'd be able to figure out the solution. You might know what keeps happening, like I keep attracting the wrong woman over and over again. But you don't know what's really happening. You don't know why, right? Why is really the cause of that problem. And until you can't fix it. That's what's so powerful about my work is, like, by definition, if you're experiencing an issue and you don't know what the problem is, then you can't fix it. You would have fixed this by now. You wouldn't be in my coaching program. You wouldn't be working with me. You wouldn't be asking for help. You would have just fixed it on your own. So no matter how long you've had these issues, no matter how long you've struggled in this area of your life or in any of your area of your life, really, there's something subconscious going on. It is by definition a blind spot. It's out of your capacity. It's beyond your capacity to fix. It has to be, because otherwise you would have fixed it. So that's a really important thing to remember. Guys come, and guys are a really interesting demographic to work with because, obviously my work is just as powerful with women. It's not actually focused on men at all. That's just where, I focus as within my business. And, guys tend to isolate. They don't get together with their friends and chit chat about their problems as much as women do, right? They'd rather sort of like a little more stoic, a little bit more inward. They want to process through things, inside, and then come up with a solution that way, and then, present the solution. Whereas, women will tend to find the solution and process it through chit-chatting, right? Through communication. And that's an evolutionary thing. I think I've talked about that on this show, but maybe it's been a while. But fun fact. So I actually learned this. I remember learning this in school, in healing school. I trained for 8 years in 2 separate, really intensive 4-year schools, and I got my master's degree. And I take this shit really seriously, because this is incredibly deep work that we're doing. And by the way, this is a call-in show. You are very welcome to call in if you would like. The number to do that, I'm sorry, I forgot to say in the beginning, is 828-333-4686. Again, that is 828-333-4686. Please feel free to call in and ask any question that you have to the show. That's exactly what I'm here for. And I really, things actually work best, and people relate to it best and learn most in the audience when someone's actually calling in with a live example. So if you're hesitant, you're uncertain whether or not to jump in, I invite you to jump in. Give me a call and let's see if I can help you with what you're going through. So the sort of different ways of processing, right, between men and women. Totally evolutionary, right? So we are social creatures, right? We're not herd animals, but we are social animals. So there's safety in numbers, right? It's one of the reasons why abandonment issues are so powerful, is because evolutionarily there's something in our brain that says that if we are ostracized from the crowd, from the group, from the society, we'll die. Okay, so all defenses in a similar way are linked in the subconscious to survival. That's why they're so powerful. I just had a wonderful client today who found an issue with trust around meeting a life partner, and we traced it back to an experience where the parents left. When my client was about 5, and left this real fear, that people were going to leave, and that has kept my client single, for the entire span of their life. So that's incredibly powerful, because even though and I even said, I was like, what if I took your ideal partner and put it right in front of you, bam, there she is. How would you feel? And he said, I would run away. I would leave. If I put what you want in front of you and you don't take it, then there's something more powerful going on than the desire, than the thing that you want, right? Consciously, you're like, I want to find a great woman and settle down and get married, or whatever it is that you want. Or, I want an incredible adventurous partnership, or I want a casual relationship where I can just give a lot of passion and attraction. Great. Go ahead, by all means. If something's keeping you from that means there's something going on in the subconscious, okay, that's more powerful than your adult mind's desire for what you want. Okay, so yes, you might really want that partner, but if you fear rejection so much that you think that, if you're rejected, that there's if you had an issue around rejection at a young age, even like a parent dying or something like that, even something that's innocent in the sense of nobody really rejected you, you could still feel rejected. And that's the part that lasts, right? That's the part that you carry into adulthood. So that's the part that we work with, right? That lodges in the subconscious. Okay. And so abandonment, and so if there's an abandonment issue, that can very well keep you single. Absolutely. Are you fucking kidding me? You have to trust to really find a partner and marry with her, not marriage, but connect and combine with her, right? In a very Captain Planet type of way. If you want to make your life about someone, that takes trust. Fuck. You got to let that person in. It takes intimacy. It takes openness. It takes transparency. And if you have a terrifying fear of abandonment, if you're sure that someone's going to leave you, or that if you open up to someone, if you trust them, that they will leave you, it doesn't matter how much you want that picket fence, you're not going to get it. Because a stronger part of you, subconscious, is always stronger than the conscious, right? Always. It always wins because it's survival based, and we are creatures that above anything else will live. We will cut and claw and tooth and nail, scratch and punch and we will cling, with our nails to life. Like that is what is every cell in our body tells us to do. So if you're like, boy, I sure am lonely, that's got a priority of, let's say 5. And your subconscious is like, well, if you trust someone, they're going to leave you and you're going to die. Guess which one's a fucking higher priority in your system, So yeah, abandonment issue may not have anything to do with, or may not think it has anything to do with relationships or with trust, but boom, there's a connection, If there's anything that you want that you don't have, what would you have to risk in order to get it? Okay, got to call in. Hello, this is Dominey.
Hey, Dominey, it's Jose or Joey.
Hi, Joey. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. I'm catching your show right now, and I thought I'd call in.
Great. What can I help you with?
Well, I said you're talking about abandonment issues, and kind of had me thinking about stuff because I lost my dad when I was young, and I've still gone through a lot of breakups, and I think a lot of the superficial reasons are still deep in the abandonment issues area of why I want to stay single, and I think I'm showing someone that I'm involved with that I'm vulnerable, but I think it's still superficial, that vulnerable side, and I'm not allowing myself to get involved in that. And I think it's still in the abandonment issues area. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's a number of things that can keep us from really wanting to open up. So take a minute right now and just take a breath for me.
Okay.
And I want you to think about that moment, maybe when it's happened before, where you felt that the time was right for you to open up, whether you did or not, but when you felt that moment there. Can you think of a time?
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Of course.
So what was the situation?
Well, there's always moments where we're together and talking and deep intimate with each other. And that's where I feel most vulnerable. But the moment I'm not near her or she's not with me for a while, those feelings kind of disappear and I'm back to my confident, in my mind, independent thought self,
Mm-hmm.
independent self.
So give me one example. Give me one time when this happened. Think of a particular time, not generalized.
Recently, we're talking about our relationship and where we should be heading.
Okay.
We're being intimate, and I opened up to her a little bit, and I don't feel like I should have or did completely in my core, and it's just superficial, some of the things that I feel.
Okay. So what was the situation? Were you guys sitting, standing, lying down?
I can't think of a specific moment because it happens frequently.
Yeah, this is important. I'm pushing on this for a reason. Think of one example, Joey, not like here's what I do, because that's vague. When did it happen? Where were you sitting? What was the moment? Any moment, doesn't matter. First one that comes to mind is fine.
Yeah, I forget it.
Joey, still there? Joey, are you there? Interesting. So that's interesting on a number of levels. So we lost Joey, not quite sure why. Joey checks into the show very often, comes close to making some progress, and then leaves. Joey, I know you're still listening, so I'm saying this for you so that you hear, because this is the pattern, okay? So, and this is actually a beautiful microcosm, as it just about always is, of trust that we're talking about. Okay. So there's discomfort. There's discomfort in my work, people. Okay. If you want to stay comfortable, this isn't the place. Okay. Got another caller. Hello, this is Dominey. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, I'm well, thank you. Who's this?
This is Nathaniel.
Hi, Nathaniel. How are you?
Good, good.
What can I do for you?
So I'm watching live. So 3 years ago, my dad passed away, and my mom now currently has a new boyfriend, and I've come to the realization that, he's not dad. He never will be. It's not the same. And one of the things that I'm having problems with is that I go out of my way to help mom, be that outstanding son, because my sister's not helping her at all, and I feel like I'm not getting anything out of it. I'm not getting anything back from her, and it just, I live alone, and so it doesn't feel right to, continue helping her when she doesn't give me the gratitude that I feel I need. You know what I'm saying? And then as far as the relationship thing goes.
Well, wait, hold on. So I didn't hear a question there. You sound like you are in agreement with your own decision that doesn't feel good for you anymore. Is that clear for you, or is that something you're still uncertain about?
I still feel uncertain about it, because it's like I want to be that person that people can look up to, that person that, if somebody's having a bad day, they can call me.
Okay.
And I feel like not appreciated, because I help others, but then all they do is just, they blow me off, and then they go to somebody else with the problem, and it's like, well, I'm trying to help you, and that's the things I get.
Do you find that you get taken advantage of in relationships?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what it sounds like is happening. Actually, let me come at this a different way. What is your intention in helping? Whether it's your mother or your relationship, what's your intention? Why do you do it?
Because I care. It's like.
So then that's perfect. That's perfect. So you do it because you care. So then what difference does it make whether or not somebody appreciates what you do?
I don't know, because one of the things that Dad taught me was that, to be thankful and to be grateful for what you have. And I feel that when I do these things, when I help people and I, don't get that thank you, or they don't continue to come to me, I feel like less appreciated. I feel like I don't get enough.
Gotcha. Okay.
Gratitude.
So then it sounds like is happening is there's a mixed intention. Okay. There's a core quality where it sounds like you are a very kind-hearted person. Would you say that that's true about yourself?
Yes.
Okay. So you're a very kind-hearted person, and that's a core quality of yours, which means left to your own devices, you will naturally gravitate toward being kind and helpful. Okay.
Right.
And what do we do when we go into defense? We distort our strengths.
We shut down.
Well, if that is a gift of yours, then you will default to shutting down. If your gift, and just one of your gifts, is kindness and helpfulness, then you will distort that. You will be overly kind and overly helpful, and it won't feel good to you anymore. Because at that point, despite the fact that you're kind of technically doing the same actions, completing the same actions, the intention is different. At that point, you're doing it in order to be validated.
Right.
I know that because you're experiencing disappointment that you weren't. So the fact that you are feeling that you're not getting enough gratitude indicates that you're going in expecting gratitude, because otherwise you wouldn't notice that you didn't get it. Does that make sense?
Right.
So that being said, that would be sort of we'll call it the negative side. The positive side is that's genuinely who you are, and you genuinely want to do that. Okay. So let's put that piece aside for just a second. We're going to come back to it. The relationship piece, again, if your core quality is being kind-hearted and helpful, then you will distort that by overdoing it in relationships. That's why I asked if you tended to get taken advantage of in relationships, because people who are naturally sweet will default to sort of being a doormat. Does that make sense?
Right.
Doesn't mean you are a doormat. You are not. It's a distortion. It's the same. You're like, I'm not sure if I want to say yes to that. Yeah, it's okay. They're two sides of the same coin. This is the natural part of who you are is kind and helpful. Kind and helpful and drawing boundaries are not antithetical. Those two things are not at odds. Okay, you can be a very kind-hearted person, a desire to heal, helpful, sweet, nice, and still have boundaries for how people treat you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because basically, so I'm currently talking to somebody, and I've expressed that, yes, I like this person, but when I say, hey, I'm busy, or don't call me right now, I can't talk right now, she continues to pursue, just keep going, and it's getting to the point where it's like I can't do this. And I've tried to go to friends and talk to them about it, and they're having difficulty understanding what I'm trying to get to. And it's just, I was in a relationship with a woman for 5.5 years. And through those 5.5 years, the relationship was, it was like a bar graph, or no, not a bar graph, like a chart that goes up and down, because that's how the relationship went. Because things, I'm in a supported living program through the state, and one of the things that her dad didn't like was that I have caregivers that, that makes me less responsible. And I kept trying to tell him, hey, no, that doesn't make me less responsible. It just, I have autism. It's a disability. It's nothing I can control. And he had a hard time understanding that. Any relationship that I get into, as soon as I bring that up, then they either stop talking to me, or they will talk to me, but then, I was talking to somebody.
Wait, finish your thought there, Nathaniel. They either stop talking to you or what?
They stop talking to me, or they find somebody else.
So they stop talking to you either way?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you could pick one problem about your dating life to fix, what would it be?
One problem to fix? I would like to fix the trust.
And how does the trust block you in your dating life now? Give me an example of one time when it has.
Well, there was one time when I was dating somebody, and we got into an argument, and so I went to go over to talk to her, and there was another guy there. And so I was like, okay.
Like a guy that she was interested in, like a romantic thing?
Yeah.
Do you know that for sure, or did you assume that?
From what I saw,
you assumed.
It definitely looked like she was
It's okay either way. I just want to know if that did she ever confirm that she was sleeping with him or interested in him?
Yeah, but I mean, she had this friend while we were dating,
Mm-hmm.
and then I think that she decided, oh well, just to make him pissed off, I'm gonna screw my guy friend, and it didn't. And I was like, okay, well, I thought I trusted you,
Mm-hmm.
because I told her, I said, I don't have problems with you having guy friends. I just don't want them to get romantically involved with you, because you're in a relationship with me,
Mm-hmm.
and
So
that,
Nathaniel, so go ahead
mhm.
and just take a couple deep breaths for me, just nice and slow. And go ahead and put yourself back in the position. You guys got in a fight. You went over there to speak with her, and you walked in and someone else was there. What do you feel in your body?
It hurt.
Mm-hmm. Where does it hurt?
It hurt. It hit my heart the most, because
Mm-hmm. So feel into your
my
heart
love
now.
for
Mm-hmm. Don't explain it. Just let me know exactly what you feel. You're doing great. So I want you to
my love.
feel into your heart now. And just let yourself breathe and feel that hurt. I want you to let it hurt. Keep breathing.
Just thinking about it
Yeah.
hurts.
Yeah. That's
Because
okay.
my love for her was so strong.
Yeah. So let it hurt. Let your heart break. Don't try and protect yourself from it. That was a painful thing that happened.
Pardon?
So don't try and protect yourself from it. Let it hurt, because that was a really painful thing that happened.
So
Hold on. It's really tempting to go back because talking is easier than feeling, right? So the temptation is to go back and tell me something else, but we just hit something pretty big. So that's why I'm pausing here. So when you feel ready, can you let me know what you're noticing in your body right now?
well, I took the breath, and I closed my eyes, and I could see the image in my head,
Mm.
and it hurt.
Yeah. Let yourself feel that hurt.
It's like that was the woman that I was going to marry, and to see that happen.
Yeah. If you can, Nathaniel, let the feeling get bigger. I know it's uncomfortable, but it's just a feeling. It's not going to hurt you. See if you can let it expand a little bit, as much as you can.
I feel like being that she wasn't loyal, it was a waste of my time.
Yeah, that's just something your mind is saying. That's not helping. That's just something your mind is saying to distract from the discomfort of the emotion. That's irrelevant. It doesn't matter whether you wasted your time or not. It's gone. Yeah.
What my mind is thinking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's a thought, right? Not a feeling. I wasted my time. That's a thought. Thoughts are in your
You want
head.
to know what my mind is thinking?
No, I'm not interested in what your mind is thinking, because your mind is trying to make sense of something that's beyond it. This is an emotional situation. The fact of the matter is, something happened that fucking hurt.
Yeah.
A lot.
Right.
There's no more. That's the point. Every place your mind tries to go from there is trying to kind of distract away, because if you're thinking, then you're feeling less and it doesn't hurt as badly.
Right.
Does that make sense? Yeah. So what are you noticing now in your body?
Just a lot of sadness.
Yeah. Where do you feel the sadness? Sorry, go ahead.
It just a lot of sadness, and then a lot of just pain. Yeah. Numbness.
Yes. Great awareness.
To the point where it just makes me want to just break down.
Okay. Why don't you let yourself break down? What's keeping you from breaking down now?
The pain is so much. It's just,
yeah,
it's unbearable.
It's okay. That's the belief. It's definitely bearable. It's just a feeling. You can kind of visualize drawing from me if you want to. You can get support from me. You can hear my voice in the phone, know that I'm here supporting you, feel that support, and keep breathing. Try not to hold on to the feeling and try not to hold it back. Just let it take you over and then let it go. You're doing great.
Wow. Holy crap. I don't think I've ever felt this way before.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
Did you feel that wave come through and then go?
Pardon?
Did you feel that wave come through and then go?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
Like it's a constant rhythm too, and it's like I'll feel the pain, and then I'll be like, okay, it's gone, and then it will come and go and come and go.
So emotions, Nathaniel, are a wave structure. Okay, they flow in and they take. If you don't block them, if you leave everything kind of as it wants to be, then they come in, they take you over either in a small way or a big way, depending on the size of the wave, and then they go. And if you let them in, if you let your heart break when you feel that feeling, if you let yourself, what's the term you use, break down, right? Then they'll come over, it'll feel uncomfortable, it'll come over, it'll take you over in a wave, and then it will be gone, and then it's gone. That piece will never come back again because you let it process through your system. What we tend to do is when we feel the urge to, quote, break down, we kind of keep ourselves from breaking down because we assume that's a negative thing, and it's not. It's a very important thing. Doesn't matter whether it's important or not. It's authentic, so we go with it, right? So how are you feeling now?
Better.
Good.
I feel that, I can just let her go and move on to a better future.
Yeah.
Because Mom and I, so basically,
So Nathaniel, I'm sorry, I'm going to stop you right there because I don't want you to move on to another thing yet, because what you just experienced is really important for your system, and I want you to integrate it. And sometimes if we change topics too quickly, then it doesn't integrate and you don't get the benefit of what you just did. Does that make sense?
I feel that I could move forward in life now that I went through that.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Because at the time when it happened, I wasn't sure what I was feeling.
Yeah, because you were a little bit in shock. And what happens in shock is we freeze, and then you can't feel the feelings when you're frozen.
Yeah. It's stage fright.
Yeah, it's any kind of fright. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So moving forward, when this kind of thing comes up for you, Nathaniel, I want you to let yourself feel the feelings. Okay? Don't block them from coming in, and don't hold on to them when they're ready to go. Just surrender. Practice surrender and see what kind of difference that makes for you, okay? Okay. Great work. Thank you so much for calling in. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
My pleasure. I'll talk soon.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That was great. That was such a great example of so many things. So you guys, I need to step away from my computer very quickly because it's about to shut off because I don't have it plugged in. So if you give me just a minute, I'm going to grab my cord and I'll be right back. Okay, thank you. Sorry about that, guys. Thank you for your patience. So thank you so much, Nathaniel, for calling in. That was such a great example because this is what we do. We experience something. As he said, the number one thing he would change is being able to trust. And the thing is, if trust is the issue, then we will attract experiences to us that, for better or worse, give us the opportunity to practice trust, meaning we'll attract betrayal or we'll perceive betrayal, whether it's there or not, right? You're very welcome, Nathaniel. Thank you for calling. And so there were a number of really important things that Nathaniel just modeled there for us so beautifully. One is that resistance to really feeling the feeling. It's amazing how much of my work comes down to inviting people and creating a safe space for them to feel their feelings, because emotions are totally authentic, right? You either feel something or you don't. This is why I say often on here, this is why I choose to work with attraction, right? Because it's completely authentic. So you can't fake it. You can't pretend you're interested in someone. You can't, you can't pretend that you're not interested in someone. Like, it's very, yours might show more on the outside than someone else's. Mine, just about my everything shows on my outside, but it's a very authentic thing. And so when something happens, like we get betrayed, right? Exactly as Nathaniel said, there's a freeze. I kind of was in shock. Yeah, you're in shock. You weren't able to process through the feelings because they're, the thing's happening right now, right? So we got another call coming in. Hello, this is Dominey. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Dominey, it's me, Andrew.
Hi, Andrew. How are you?
Good. It's been a while since I've checked in with you.
Yeah, glad you called. What can I do for you?
Well, ever since my main thing, I used to be scared of the word no and getting turned down. With your help, versus all the podcasts and all these lives you've been doing with
Mm-hmm.
on Facebook. It just seems like I finally attracted the girl of my dreams, but now she's having second thoughts.
Wait a minute. I'm getting some background noise. Andrew, can you go somewhere where or be somewhere where you're quiet?
Sorry, I'm at work.
Okay. I missed what you said. You finally attracted the girl of your dreams. Is that what you said?
Yes, and now she's having second thoughts on being in a relationship with me. And it's nothing I'm doing. She's more scared of what my mom and everyone thinks. What do I do in that situation?
What do you mean she's scared of what your mom thinks?
Well, she knows my mom's very opinionated in my life, in my dating life. She seems to be very opinionated in it, but I don't always go by what she says. I do my own thing.
Then how is this relevant to your relationship with your girlfriend?
Because she's also one of my best friends, my sister's best friend. And she doesn't want to ruin that but we both want to see where it goes. But she's just scared if anything happens, that my mom's going to start bad-mouthing her and everything. Like she has with my other exes. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Why? Hang on. Your mother ought not to be playing a role in the relationship between you and a girl you just described as the woman of your dreams. I'm not even sure why we're talking about your mother right now. If your mother has this much of an influence in your dating life, Andrew, that's a little bit of a red flag, babe.
Yeah.
This is not your mother's.
Like I said, I take her opinion but I don't go by it.
Andrew?
I do my own thing.
Well, but not enough, apparently, or you wouldn't be bringing this up on the call. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah.
So.
Well, no, she's more worried about it than I am. I'm like,
right.
Let it go. It's nothing to be worried about.
Okay. Are you listening?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So if she is concerned, first of all, you can't fix her, right? So let's assume that it's something that you're doing that's eliciting or encouraging this kind of reaction from her, right? Especially since you said this reaction from your mother has happened in the past with previous exes. Okay. So what I'm thinking, what it feels to me, despite the sort of technical words that you're using, is that you're allowing your mother to have a very big role in your dating life. Okay. I would look for the places where you let her control or you take her opinion. You're a grown man. Your relationship is your business. It might succeed spectacularly or it might fail spectacularly. Both are your business and not your mother's. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So if something like that were to happen, like I don't know if your mother still badmouths your exes or not, but that is something I would sit her down and have a very serious talk with and set a very clear boundary. Okay.
All right.
Your mother, you can be very close with your mother. I'm very close with my mother. And there are certain realms that are appropriate for her to have an input in and certain realms that there aren't. The men that I date, it's not appropriate, unless I'm like in a terrible relationship, something like that. But bad mouthing exes that's the type of thing that makes me think that she's got sort of strings in you that you might be used to and not noticing as strings. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
So I would, rather than push your girlfriend's feelings away because she has them, and soon, because this is affecting a relationship that, again, you just described as the girl of your dreams, I would look inward and see, where is she right? She might only be 3% right. Good, fix that 3%. That's your job. That's the part you can control, right?
Yeah.
So the way of doing that is I would, sit with yourself, breathe a little bit, center, and see where has your mother, whether intentionally or not, forget all of that. You've listened to enough of me to hopefully to know that by now, I think. Where has your mother come in between your relationships in the past? You know, even if it's just sort of side comments, or even if it's just in your head, maybe she never even says anything, but you're thinking it in your head. She's still in there, right? You're letting her in there in some way. Does any of that ring any bells?
Yeah.
Follow the ringing. Because especially if this has happened before, it's a pattern, right? So,
Yes, ma'am.
so that means we know it's you on some level, right? And this is, if this is the one, you know, take it really seriously and get in there and fix that quick to the best of your ability.
Okay.
How does it feel to hear me say that?
Better now that I know what the issues are.
Mm-hmm. How is your relationship with your mom?
Very close.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my mom, she's the only one that helped raise me since I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
Sir?
So,
And I mean, my biological father bailed out on me. He pretty much signed over his rights without blinking an eye
Jesus.
when I was 5 years old.
Oh, that sucks, honey. I'm so sorry. So listen,
Yeah,
there's an authentic closeness there with you and your mom, partially because what you guys have been through together, partially because of what happened with your father, and partially because it just sounds like you guys are close. That doesn't need that. The essence of that doesn't need to change. I'm not telling you to be less close with your mother. Okay. I am telling you though, that there are areas of your life where it's appropriate to be close with your mother and areas where it's not close. So right now, like, you can listen back to this call after it's finished when it's posted on the Facebook page and listen to the tone of your voice when you answered the question I asked when I said, how is your relationship with your mother? And you were like, it's close. Like there was like a significant tone there to me. So great. Okay. The closest is fine. The enmeshment isn't. Okay, it's not appropriate for her to have an opinion on who you date. It's not. You are a grown-ass man, Andrew. She can have her opinions, but she may not enforce them upon you. And you have a right to say, I don't want to discuss this with you. I'm an adult. Let's go out for lunch and talk about everything else. Okay. Right. But to do so with your relationships is invasive. And then she invades that on her end, and then now it's coming in between you and this girl, and it will break you up if you don't handle this. I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be like the predictor of doom there, but I mean that fix this or else. I just mean like this.
I know.
Yeah, you see the sabotage coming, right? That's why you called.
Yeah, that's why I'm bringing it up to you.
Good, smart man, very good, good for you.
And because it was one of them, like I said, she's opinionated, but I really don't take her advice all that often. And the girl that I'm talking to is thinking I do what I don't.
So assume that something is giving her that opinion and look for where she's right. Something's giving her that impression. And just look for where she might be right. Again, it might only be 3%, but it's still worth fixing. And honestly, it's pretty hard to not be affected by opinionated mothers. I also have an opinionated mother who's like, I'm always right. And you're like, oh, that's kind of hard to be individual around. So it's very possible that it's affecting you more than you realize. Like, even if you don't technically do what she says, it's still in there in the subconscious. And that's probably what your girl is feeling.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would look inward and sort of clarify what it is that's happening there for yourself. I would do that like tonight. And then sit down, when you get clear, sit down and have a talk with your mother and say, listen, I need to set some boundaries. This
Right.
this is important to me as a man. She loves you. She wants the best for you. She might argue. Doesn't matter. It's your boundary. Okay. It'll be a little uncomfortable likely at first because you're changing the dynamic. But it's also something that kind of needs to happen just as you grow up. I had to do that with my mom. My mom's incredibly conscious and just a wonderful mom also in lots of ways. And I needed to be seen as an adult. Like, okay, well, here's who I am because I'm in my 30s now. And, she's still saying things as if I were young. And, you need to, at some point, you need to redefine your relationship with your parents as you grow, because it changes because you're not it's a different dynamic. Now it's two adults who used to be parent-child, obviously you're still parent-child, but, and are now, adults. So you want a new relationship with her and you can phrase it that way. Hey, I'd like to improve our relationship. I want to have an adult relationship with you. Stand in your power here. That's important because you're not just standing up for yourself here, Andrew. You're standing up for your girl. It's not okay that your mom trash talks your exes. That's my opinion. Those are my life choices. No, you don't get to do that. A gentle boundary like that. No, I will not engage you here. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Give that a shot and then do me a favor and write in the Facebook page and let me know how it goes, will you?
Yes, ma'am. I sure will.
All right. Good to talk to you, sweetheart.
Nice talking to you.
Talk soon.
Bye.
So, that's a really interesting phenomenon with parents. There is that sort of change in the relationship, but what, the most fascinating thing to me about what Andrew just brought is how he's like, yes, she's opinionated, but I don't take her advice. It's like, I know what you mean, but if other people are feeling it, not like, one person one time says, gosh, should you talk about your your mother a lot, or one person says that and it doesn't resonate, that's not a big deal. But if there's a pattern here, and a few different things that Andrew said made me realize there's a pattern here. There's a she trash talks the exes. She's opinionated, but I don't listen. You can't not listen to opinionated people if they're in your life all the time. It's going to spill in. Like, there's only so long you can hold that boundary. In a mother-child relationship, fuck you. There's no way. My mom's not even that opinionated. And all she needs to say is like, oh, I feel this. I'm like, oh my God, that's definitely the truth. And I must be wrong. It's like, parent-child is a whole different thing. Andrew, you could have fucking amazing boundaries with every single person on the planet, and still not have amazing boundaries with your mother. That's why my language was a little bit assumptive there, because of the nature of your relationship. If you were like, my sister has opinions, but I don't always listen to them, it's like, okay, that makes sense, but a mother, oh boy, like, that's just the nature of the relationship, right? I mean, I'm thinking about it now. I wonder if it's honestly because, her quote advice or her guidance when you were a kid, like, keeps you alive, so maybe that's why we grow up with such incredibly, I want to say implicit trust, and I don't quite mean implicit trust, because obviously a lot of us grow up with issues, trust issues or otherwise, with our parents, but implicit engagement. We're either in love with them, or we're angry at them, or we're, what I mean? You're really engaged one way or the other. I hate her, she's terrible, or I'm, almost nobody's like super neutral about their mom, and then those people might not be neutral about their dads. We've all sort of got our things going. But yeah, so that's a complex relationship. And yeah, Caitlin, thank you so much. You just answered this question. Nathaniel just asked if I have any books out. Thank you, Nathaniel. I will be writing a book at some point. But right now, the best way to find me, exactly as it was answered on this Facebook Live, is to go to domineydrew.com/hello. And that will lead you to a short video of me talking about who I am and what I do and how I can help. And then it gives you the chance to get on the phone with me, to schedule a session. And sometimes you get me, sometimes you get my team. But on that sort of intro call, I have testimonials on my Facebook page of, screenshots of people on Facebook saying, I got so much just out of that initial session before they even work with me. There is the initial session is free. Of course, if you decide to work with me, there's an investment there. But honestly, we're talking about working through issues that people have carried for decades, 30, 40, 50 years in a matter of weeks. You heard Andrew there. Andrew doesn't even work with me. He's not a client. He's just gotten a huge amount out of listening to the podcasts, the Art of Attraction podcast. And even just that, he's really taken it to heart, and I think it's rescued a couple of his relationships, or it's led you to meeting people, or through your anxiety. I can't remember exactly what it was, Andrew. If you want to write it out, then I'd love to hear it, because, I really like that, if you want to work with me and you want to do it intensively and you're like ready to fix this, I am your person. That is what I do. My agenda becomes yours. If you're like, okay, I want to sort of work through this slowly, great, work through it slowly. If you're like, the faster I can fix this, the better. I want to meet someone and move on with my life. I'm tired of being in this dating rut. Great. I have people who, again, turn around issues they've been struggling with for literally decades in a matter of weeks. So it's just a huge shift. That's kind of just how I work. The people who are drawn to actually working with me tend to want to move their shit. They're done. They don't want to spend 5 years in therapy. Therapy is also great. If you are uncertain, go to therapy. Everybody needs therapy. But my work is faster. It's deeper. It's more effective. It's uncomfortable. Nathaniel just had to sit through a very uncomfortable amount of fear. But then he sat with it, and it's like, it's really terrible, it's really terrible, it's really terrible. Whew, 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 whew. And then it's gone. You do that a few times in a row, and that issue that has plagued you for your entire life is no longer there, people. Okay? This isn't tips and tricks. This isn't, techniques and tactics. This is like solving the problem from the inside out so that the results that you get are permanent. Completely permanent. Okay? Because you're done with this. You don't want to carry this anymore. So if any of this sounds like you, by all means, reach out, head to domineydrew.com/hello. That is the fastest way to get through this. I've done this work for 15 years. I've studied all sorts of modalities. The one that I use, this process work, is the single best. Okay. I don't know a lot of other people that do it. Call me up, get on the phone, invest in yourself, take this shit seriously. If you're ready to move, do something about it. If you're happy where you are, stay where you are. I honor that very much. There's no judgment here. I have no agenda for you. And Nathaniel, thank you for asking. There is no fee to meet with me. It's a free call. And we talk about, where it is that, what it is that you're struggling with. And sometimes, people have major breakthroughs. It's called a breakthrough strategy session. And that's why. So that's at domineydrew.com/hello. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for today. Thank you so much for everybody today for calling in. That was a really great show. We touched on trust. Of course, that's kind of the best you get in my episodes. I make a plan to talk about one thing, and then people come in and we follow the flow, and sometimes it matches up and sometimes it doesn't. But I really appreciate everybody, reaching out and calling in. It's, of course it's, it feels transparent, or it feels vulnerable to reach out and call, even if you're nameless and faceless, even if you're a voice on the radio. Notice the resistance to calling in, right? To making a movement towards that, and question that resistance. That's interesting. I definitely don't want to reach out. Okay. I wonder what that's about. Let yourself get curious. This is what it's about. Okay. Notice what it is that you want. Okay. Notice what it is that's in between you and that thing, right? So I really want a beautiful woman in my life. What happens when you see beautiful women? Oh, I run away. Okay, great. Well, what is in the running away? What is it that happens in that moment? What do you hear? What do you think? What occurs to you? What do you feel in your body, not in your head? When I say, what do you think? It's like, what words do you hear? Right? Like, oh, she's never going to want me. Or, oh, I'm never, she's probably got a boyfriend. What are you telling yourself? And then believing that's keeping you from what you want. And what's the payoff for that? How badly do you want what you want? Okay, when you're ready to do whatever it takes to get what you want in your life, that's when you call me. So again, that's at domineydrew.com/hello. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I will see you next week. Have a great week. Take care.